Hi guys, this is Julia from Just One More Card, and I have a new mini coloring series for you featuring a stamp by Stamping Bella and Copic markers on Kraft. You told me that my last coloring series was, well, in your words, pretty awesome, so I thought you might enjoy another one. So we are going to be using Tiny Towny Dorothy the Dreamer from Stamping Bella, which is a rubber stamp, a beautiful rubber stamp. And I'm going to be inking it up with my favorite things, black licorice hybrid ink. This ink works perfectly with watercolor, with Copic markers, with pencils and blending solutions, so it's a very versatile ink, and I'm stamping it on Kraft cardstock. Now, in order to figure out how Copic markers will look on Kraft cardstock, I encourage you to create your own color swatches. I just cut some pieces of this cardstock into pieces, and then I just scribbled down some of the Copic color onto it. Now, the trick here is that the Copic will change color when it dries. So it's I feel it's very important to have those color swatches, because you can't really judge the color when it's wet. You really need to wait until it has dried to see how it will look like. Also, you should test your own Copic paper, the one that you have, to see how much it feathers or bleeds, if you can blend on it, just how it behaves, because just as white paper is different, Copic paper is different as well, and maybe you have different papers and one of them will work great for this technique. Now, as you can see, I've started by putting down some color first, some light color first, because I thought that wetting the cardstock would be good to help the color blend better. But I found that if with this particular cardstock, if it's too wet, then the color feathers too much, or at least beyond my control, which I didn't want. So I'm trying to adjust my coloring, or at least I will in the future. Right now, when I did this coloring here, I was really just focused on seeing how I could make the Copics blend on the Kraft cardstock, and I was pleasantly surprised. I want to direct your attention back to the face of the monster, and I hope you can see that the color has already started to change there compared to when it was wet. And I think you will also be able to see that here on the feet. And I was really delighted to see how easy it was to blend on the cardstock, and how beautiful the color came out in the end, because I think it's just incredibly fascinating to see colored images on Kraft cardstock. You know, it seems kind of easy to do it on white paper, but to do it on Kraft paper is kind of magical. At least it's to me, and I really enjoy the process. Now don't let the Kraft paper put you off. If you have ever colored on regular white paper or cardstock, this is exactly the same process. Whatever you're doing there, just do the same here. It's just that the paper is a little bit different. You might want to be careful with your mid-tones, because you need very light tones for the highlights, obviously, because you're coloring on Kraft paper and you can't really make it any lighter. And if you use mid-tones, it might kind of blend too much into the Kraft. You have to experiment. You might want to go darker than you normally would, just to have some actual contrast, because otherwise it's going to be, too much, too similar to the Kraft cardstock. I hope that makes sense. So in this first video, we're going to color the monster. In the next video, we're going to color the girl, and then we're going to color the book and the pillow and the surroundings. There's one trick that I like to use to lighten up some areas, or the highlight areas, and that is to grab my white Prismacolor pencil. My polychromos pencil. If you have a Prismacolor pencil, it will work just the same. And then I usually use a paper stump, a dry one. I don't put any blending solution on it or something. And I'm just gently rubbing over the white pencil that I put on there, and I'm not pressing down very hard when I apply the pencil. I'm doing it very, very lightly, and the goal is simply to lighten up the highlights a little bit. And I think you can see that it really does make a difference, and I'm absolutely delighted how it turned out on the monster, and especially on his feet. It looks really dimensional there. I'm very, very happy about how it turned out. So this is part 1 of the coloring series. I hope that by splitting it up into different sections, it will be easier for you to follow along. Here's a close-up of the monster on the finished card, and you can already see where we're going to go next time. Then I come back with part 2, when we're going to color that girl. Thank you so much for watching. I encourage you to subscribe to my channel so you won't miss out on any videos, and I'll catch you again soon. Bye bye.